Okay, so we're going to go over sanders as I promised, and there are several different kinds, as you'll see here. Several different ones that we use for different purposes, and I'm going to go over the ones that we use the least amount first, and up to the ones that we use the most. So I would say the least used one is this handheld belt sander. This is for large surfaces. A lot of times you'll see these used when someone's sanding down a floor, a really rough tabletop. We'll break out the belt sander to do big jobs. So if we're cleaning up our work tables here, trying to get all the paint and stuff of them like that down, and we do that about 2 to 3 times a year. A lot of times people grab this as quickly as they can. Usually put a 60-80 grit paper on it, which removes a lot of material pretty fast. So, handheld belt sander. The next one that we use the least because it removes a lot of material is called the speed sander. So the speed sander does its job really well. It spins. So it spins, it doesn't rotate or doesn't orbit or anything like that. It just spins at a really high rate. Does have an adjustable speed on it. Removes a lot of material. It's good again for, I use this like when I'm refinishing old tables, antique tables, that I really want a lot of control. This is what I'll use. Again, a lot of material removed. Once you take it off, you can't put it back on when it comes to sanding. The next sanders that we're going to go over, we use a lot. We use these almost exclusively, almost every job, almost every day. Generally, I start you guys out and make your hand sand a lot of stuff so you then appreciate the tools, because you can tear these up pretty easily. We're going to start with a cat corner sander. A cat corner sander is shaped, sometimes people will call it a mouse sander, because it looks like the old mouse on a computer. It's got the point. It moves, basically it vibrates. It doesn't spin, it doesn't do anything, but it vibrates. It's really great for detail work. You can put a heavy grit on it and take a lot of material off. You can put a fine grit on it and really do a good finishing. For a long time, this was the sander that I used probably exclusively when I built furniture. I didn't use an orbital sander all that much. I've gotten to where I use it a little bit more because I can control the tool marks that it leaves. That's the drawback on this, is it will leave tool marks. If you move across your material too fast, it's going to leave these little squiggly lines or marks, tool marks in it, that you probably won't notice until you go to put a coat of stain on it, and all of a sudden it shows up. So the disadvantage on this one is it's real easy to leave tool marks that you won't see until you go to stain and finish. And then you have to start over again and sand it back down, try to get those tool marks out, go with a fine finish. So just more added work. The other sander that we use a lot, and again, we probably have 5 of these. We probably have 6 or 7 of these. These are called orbital sanders. They spin, but they also oscillate. So they move, they're spinning while they're also doing like an orbit is what it's called. So that's why they call it orbital sander. Again, this is what we're going to use probably more than any other sander, just because we have more of them and they don't mess up things quite as bad. So I'm going to show you how to use both. I'm going to start with the cat corner and then move up to the orbital. I'm not going to show you how to use the belt sander or the speed sander because I don't have an actual project to use with it. So again, remember, do the cord, tie it with the when the cord is loose. So when the plug is loose like this, that's when I tie it. So I get. All right, so I'm gonna use this because I wanna dull these edges. So I cut this with a jigsaw. This is the final result of the jigsaw that you'll probably see later. But USA, and I'm gonna dull these edges because they're sharp. And a lot of times I'll dull these on a belt sander, and I'll show you that later. But right now I'm gonna dull it with this, and then I'm gonna sand this part with the orbit. So I turn it on, let it get to speed. Soften the edges on things, which is just what this did. Was it takes that sharp edge, just softens it. What that will allow to happen is the stain will hold better, or the paint will hold better. If you have a sharp edge on something over a matter of months or so, if it has any wear or use on it, that paint or stain is going to come off on a sharp edge. Soften the edges. It'll hold your paint a little bit better.